Presidency. Mr. President, I would like to congratulate you on presiding over the deliberations of the Security Council in the month of October. In the region where UNMIK is deployed, this month has been characterized by critical deadlines regarding the dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina. This applies in particular to the roadmap on energy and the license plates with the upcoming deadlines and the many discussions at several European levels on many issues having to do with the European prospects for Serbia and Kosovo. And they will have an impact not just on the life of the peoples in this region, but also on this political and security environment with which the mission is evolving.
I will continue in English. Mr. President, I am honored to brief the Council on the Secretary General's report on UNMIK and the latest developments in Kosovo. I will also offer my observation on the situation in Kosovo within a wider context. As detailed in the report, the past 6 months included many instances of political posturing over matters which remain a part of the agenda of the EU-facilitated dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina. The energy roadmap, people's freedom of movement, the validity of identity cards, and the association community of Serb-majority municipalities, to name just a few. We will continue to extend all possible support toward the success of this dialogue. Equally, I am cognizant that development in Kosovo, as with all open matters in the region, are affected by the European security environment as a whole. In this light, I have been in close conversation with many partners and stakeholders on the ground, as well as interlocutors across the region. A shared assessment is that issues which appear dormant can easily return to the forefront of the dialogue agenda. This places extra responsibility for ensuring close coordination among the various missions on the ground. When working together coherently and effectively, we can contribute to clarify misunderstandings and avoid escalations. We can also help to empower leaders whose vision recognizes the benefits of reducing tensions, not inflaming them. Leaders who are ready to open the space for progress and positive change. Mr. President, since last spring, we all observed several escalations in political rhetoric between Pristina and Belgrade, as well as few moments of acute tension on the ground. These threatened to set back many of the gains previously achieved through the EU-facilitated dialogue. During such moments, the attention of both sides was invested in mutual accusation rather than in making use of formal or informal channels for engaging in constructive dialogue. Diplomatic interventions, along with a top-level dialogue meeting on 18th of August, led to temporary relief in the form of extended deadline and promises to continue discussions. Yet, the parties' willingness to risk dangerous confrontations on the ground at best set the process back. At worst, it may lead to much more serious consequences, even if unintended. Mr. President, at times when the line between political provocation and overt belligerence blurs, we are reminded of the importance and discerning role of our mandated international partner, KFOR, whose presence continuously ensures safe and secure environment in Kosovo. I wish to express my personal appreciation to departing KFOR Commander, Major General Frank Gayari of Hungary, under whose leadership KFOR played its role in an exemplary manner. I also wish to acknowledge his newly arrived successor, Major General Angelo Ristuccia of Italy, who I have no doubt will continue to foster the essential UNMIK KFOR partnership. Mr. President, as I emphasized late April here in this august body, the government of Kosovo has had an ambitious agenda whose delivery depends on sound decision-making, strong partnership, and public consensus. This agenda is based on the rule of law. We recognize the continuing effort of the government to strengthen the rule of law and justice, which can only succeed through full compliance with all applicable legal frameworks and by ensuring due process. In this context, I would highlight the importance of, first, the full implementation of all High Court decisions, such as those of the Constitutional Court. Second, full respect for human rights, including social and economic rights, property rights, and freedom of movement for all communities. Third, full respect for all obligations previously undertaken and ratified within the framework of the EU facilitated dialogue. Mr. President, in the spirit of shared responsibilities in maintaining stability and security, time and again, I reiterated my call to both Belgrade and Pristina to remain actively and constructively engaged in the EU facilitated dialogue and to preserve the acquis and build on it. Mr. President, there are many choices to be made by political leaders in the days ahead about how to manage their ambitions and objectives, given the contours of wider economic and security uncertainty at this time. Choices between cooperation or division, between threats or gesture of goodwill, between compromises and zero-sum calculations. For that, responsibility starts at home. Amidst all the challenges, we have witnessed positive examples of leadership and cooperation. The government of Kosovo remains focused on addressing critical issues in relation to the rule of law. Efforts we expect are noted by European member states weighing their position on the visa liberalization and travel regime for the people of Kosovo. For as long as we, the international community, remain actively engaged in Kosovo, we also bear responsibility. Among these is to support those choices which offer hope for a better future to families and individuals across the society. Mr. President, regional government-led cooperation initiatives, regardless of their labels, authorship, and participation, can also contribute to the resolution of political tensions and problems. This is especially true now, when all parts of the region are affected by similar supply chain risks and other economic challenges. Of course, regional initiatives are not a panacea. Sustainable peace requires much more, including the direct engagement of communities and better understanding their views, concerns, and interests. This is where the role of missions, such as ours, can do more to support the progress. Mr. President, our mission continues to adapt its focus, carrying forward some of the best initiatives launched in the past, such as the long-established trust-building agenda, while accurately assessing present realities. We are renewing our resource priorities, refining our institutional partnerships, and enhancing our internal working objectives and culture. My goal is for UNMIK to focus upon those areas where our continued presence, in concert with the entire UN family, as well as our other partner in Kosovo, contributes consistently with positive effects. This includes, first, participating in and promoting effective communication across ethnic and political lines at all levels of society. It involves creating opportunities that promote an atmosphere where respect for human rights, for the rule of law, and for the peaceful settlement of differences are more consistently manifested. Second, redoubling the mission's commitment to support trust-building actors from across all parts of Kosovo society, amplifying the power and energy of those who possess and drive the drive and orientation to shape a promising future for themselves and the generation to come. Third, helping to promote broad awareness about the interdependence, the shared problems and interests of people across Kosovo and throughout the region. And it includes doing all of this in a manner well informed by the current regional and global political landscape. Mr. President, our mission will be refining its work with local partners to advance the trust-building agenda with a focus on women and youth, but also more broadly on future leaders and change makers from all walks of life. During the past 6 months, we have used our convening power in so many ways. That includes bringing together more than 150 youth leaders from Kosovo and the region for the 4th UN Youth Assembly, the largest multi-ethnic youth forum in Kosovo. Hosting the Global Open Day on Women, Peace and Security to raise the profile of women's participation in political processes, and supporting 37 civil society organizations from across Kosovo's community to launch the 3rd annual Human Rights Report. Critical topics have been constructively and safely addressed in these forums: misinformation, hate speech, women in leadership, youth decision-making, domestic violence, and more. We have also supported access to justice and language rights, including through initiatives to provide legal aid, translators in court, and free languages learning tools. Mr. President, a few weeks ago, in his opening remarks to the General Assembly, the Secretary General stated, and I quote, "We live in a world where the logic of cooperation and dialogue is the only path forward. We need hope and more. We need action." End of quote. I echoed this message during my meetings with leaders across the region about the recent development in Kosovo. I am now more and more convinced that any agreement between Belgrade and Pristina can be achieved and implemented with a high degree of public involvement and ownership. Allow me here to take the opportunity to commend the EU Special Representative for his continuous engagement in this regard. Based on the mandate given by you, this Council, for the international presences in Kosovo, we look forward to cooperating with the institutions of Kosovo based on good faith and full respect for one another. I wish to express my deep appreciation to this Council for your sustained engagement and continuous support for our mission, and I thank you, Mr. President.